Hi there. My name's Heather and this is Ankara's book club. You know, I do love to read. I'm not the type of reader that can go book after book after book. I really like to read slowly and take in each section of a book and integrate that information. And certainly in between books, particularly if they make a profound impact on my life, I like to have big gaps. So Ankara's book club is about the books that are outstanding to me, outstanding in a way where they change my consciousness, they upgrade a part of my life, they have impact. It's not so much about if everything in the book fell into place perfectly, if it was written perfectly, although some of them are written impeccably. It's more about the juiciness and how the book lands in your hands at just the right time in your life. And maybe it sits on the nightstand for a little while. Maybe you don't get into it, but then something calls you to that bundle of knowledge and it opens these doors. So I hope you love book club. I'm going to be going slowly through some of the books that have changed my life and talking about why. And most importantly, because I love action and integration and making things tangible in the real world, what actions and what habits changed in my life because of these books. Now, I don't think I could start anywhere else. When I was thinking about, well, what would be my first book? I chose one that is dear to me, one that surprised me and changed my life forever. I still think about the story of this book. And although I'm not one to reread books, actually, if there was a book I would reread, this would be it. So I chose Jean Auel's Clan of the K-Bear. So where do I begin? This is a fiction, but it's a historical fiction. She's done an incredible amount of research and she knows what she's talking about. This is set in the time where Neanderthals were now coexisting with Homo sapiens. It is so interesting. And the level of work that she's put in, now this is a whole series and she's written a whole bunch. And to be brutally honest with you, I never continued the series. But one day I was hunting around on my mother's bookshelves and she's got a huge collection of books. And at the time, I was still studying shamanism. And the Clan of the Cave Bear, just as a title, it stood out to me. And I thought, maybe this is what I'm looking for. A dear friend of mine has also read this book and highly recommended it. So in I went. It's a sizable book. I was worried about my levels of dedication, but it brought up so many emotions in me and so much intrigue. You know, Jean Auel has gone into such detail here about the beings that were living on Earth at that time, what they were eating, the tools they were crafting, the way that they lived. And it is a story. It's a story about what we would call a half-breed. And how this alone female half-breed finds her way through to a clan. Now, the parts that I loved, and honestly, it resonated so deeply when I was learning shamanism, becoming a shamanic practitioner, doing a lot of healing work, is in the book, they all have animal totem spirits. They talk a lot about herbal medicine and the shaman in the clan and what that shaman needs to do to protect the tribe, the clan, and the social structures around it all is just fascinating. And how the main character in the book has a really strong totem and one that wasn't originally accepted as a female totem, and how she is constantly not fitting in and feeling outcast and not accepted by the tribe. There's huge amounts of trauma and grief and loss in this book as well. There's also connection and just some really beautiful ideas around how humans used to live. Hey, lovelies, if you're resonating with this content, don't forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out, helps out the channel, helps us to make beautiful content for you all. Don't forget to comment down below too if you want to share your experiences, ask us a question, and send in some requests. We'd love to know what you want more videos about. Once again, thank you for watching, and we love you all so much. I found it incredibly insightful and nourishing, actually, to my life. I picked up many things I could relate to. I picked up many things that I was fascinated by, particularly because I have studied herbalism. I have studied ancient medicines, shamanism. It really ties into a lot of that. And also just group dynamics and connection and relationships and the way that they used to live links us back to what we can consider more healthy than the modern society. Even that's down to how they used to live together, and they used to support each other in whatever way they needed to survive. I loved the little things like there would be many mothers in a tribe, and if one was exhausted or didn't have enough breast milk, the child would simply be handed to the next mother or the next mother, and they would breastfeed each other's children. And the children could walk freely in between the hearths, which is the fire center of the couple. And the shaman character was very interesting. He was very powerful and considered very knowledgeable, and really had a lot of say in the clan's survival and where they would go to next and how they would find shelter and where they would forage. Very interesting. I found it very life-changing. And actually, the part that's really important for me is I still refer back to this story. It's like I still learn from it year after year, and it still calls to me as an area of intrigue. Now, I know fiction's really important to deliver stories, and stories are actually a massive part of shamanism as well. Learning through symbolism and story is a way that we pass down teachings. And the symbolism in here is profound. And it's really about one main character and her connection to nature and to herself, and all the hardship that she goes through. One of those stories that really pulls out, the human experience and how enduring it can be. And particularly now, I think when you read a story like this and you relate it to our lives, so many things are different, but we're still in the same experience. The time is different, the nature's different, the environment different for sure, the way that we're living drastically different, but we are still having that spiritual experience in those physical forms. And some of the turmoil in here is similar to what we go to. The differences between us seem to be so much focused on. And at the end of the day, we're really all one experience, one spirit. We're all trying to navigate our way through this. And it reminds me that ever since the dawn of time, there's always been that comparison. There's always been that dynamic polarization, even through gender. And I highly recommend this one. So I wanted to read a little bit from it so you can hear the way that it's written and the depth of it. Tears came to her eyes often. Small things triggered memories of love and warmth. A startled rabbit bounding across her path reminded her of long, shambling walks with Kreb. She loved his craggy, one-eyed, scarred old face. The thought of it filled her eyes to overflowing. Seeing a plant that she had gathered for Isa, Ayla would burst into sobs, remembering the woman explaining how it was used. And a freshet of new tears come when she recalled Cred burning her medicine bag. Nights were the worst. It's poetically beautiful at times. I highly recommend it. The actions I changed in my life was, this was one of the books that moved me towards a shamanic life potently. It was one of those reassuring and confirming stories that said, living close to nature, living within these ancient roles, living with a totem and a profound connection to nature is good for us. It doesn't alleviate the difficult parts about being human. We're still going to compare. We're still going to not fit in. We're still going to have loss and grief and turmoil. But this was what solidified it for me, that this is the way I wanted to live, a little bit closer to this ancient way. And it helped me to truly understand my totem spirit and how we all live with our own birth animal totem. And that's something we teach at Ankara. And this was something that really embodied that for me. It really brought it into tangible life. I think before then I was wondering if believing in these spirits and feeling their presence and working with them every day was healthy or okay, or, you know, was it a good move for my mental health? I was really quite confused before this book came along. And then I said, well, this is how they used to live. This was a potent part of their medicine. And so was someone solving all of their ailments with what's in our environment, what's in nature, all of these beautiful plants and herbs. So this is what really, as if it was sent from the divine for me to say, you know, living this way is perfectly in alignment and it's really healthy. And it's something that will fuel your soul and keep your spirit well. This is the way, is what this book taught me. The shamanic life, for me, this is the way. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you can find this book and let it change your life too.